Hi, mamas and friends. It's Sarah from Late Night Coffee Moms, and my light is blinding me. Hang on just a second. Where is my cord for my light? Excuse me, pardon me. It was fine a minute ago, and now it's just blinding me in my eyes. There. Ooh, there we go. Okay, hopefully it's not too dark for you guys. So, I'm glad to be back. Hopefully I won't cry this one like on the last one. But today I was thinking we would talk about habits and traditions and depression because that's where I'm walking right now. And if you're tuning in, maybe we can walk alongside each other and get through it. So, for somebody like me who has lived with depression for as long as they can remember, habits are extremely important. They help kind of reshuffle what is chaos in my mind sometimes and give me something to do in a pattern so that I don't just do whatever I feel like because I don't feel like doing anything. Hi, Eunice. So habits are extremely important, especially for somebody who's dealing with like depression. However, after coming off of a sickness where I was pretty much in bed for 3 weeks and I was still really weak after that, and then having a surgery and coming out of that but still not being able to be as active as I once was for a long time, and then going through this grieving process that we're going through right now, all my habits have just completely been thrown out the window. It's chaos here in so many different ways, and I can feel it affecting my mindset and my entire personality. Really quick, let me explain what I consider depression. Okay, it's not just a feeling. It's not, that's bad enough. I'm not judging anybody. This is for me. This is how I deal with it and I see it. It's not just a feeling. It's not just an overwhelm. It is the point in my life where things have gotten so bad for so long that it's actually changing my chemistry. Like, my body is reverting to old habits. My brain is reverting to old pathways. And these pathways are ones that I've had set up for me for a really long time. I'd say until I was about 24, 25 is when I feel like God freed me from that being my only pathway to being yes, it's still kind of like my default and I have to fight against it. It's not the only way I can be. And for a while, it was the only way I could be. That's all I knew. That's all I understood was my life through this filter of like depression that affects your body, affects your brain chemistry, affects your decision making all those kind of things. So because now all these habits that I've tried to form over years and years and years have kind of just been shoved away, I'm back at square one. However, I am still better off than I was when I was 25 or younger, before I feel like God freed me from the control of depression. And that's the number one thing I can say that helps me know that I am better, is that I have hope. Before, when I was depressed, as I was younger, I felt like it was always going to be that way, that it always was that way and always going to be that way, or it was only going to get worse. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that, but that was pretty much my mind all the time until I was about 25, that I can see. And I would fluctuate. I would go through really manic seasons where I was hyper and hyperactive, and I felt like I was happy. I felt like I was bouncy and fun and bubbly, and then I would crash hard where I couldn't get out of bed, where I was scared to get out of bed. Oh, it's a nightmare. But the one thing that lets me know is I'm better than that is that I have hope. And the other thing is that I can see what's happening. When I was living with it before, it was just my everyday normal was horrible. So much to a point that I couldn't see that it wasn't healthy for me. I couldn't understand that not everyone dealt with life this way on a normal basis. like getting up and feeding yourself breakfast is a huge deal when you are living with depression in your makeup, in your body, in your mind, whatever. So knowing that I can see it coming and see it in me is a good sign. And also the fact that I still have hope. I know it's not going to be like this forever. I know that it's not even going to be like this for years and years and years. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and every day, if I look for it, there is joy, and I can find it, and I can kind of nurture it, and I can give thanks for it. And that's stuff I couldn't do before. So if you're watching this as we get into habits, as you're watching me go through this through the next, year or whatever, just know that I'm not a doctor. I am not an expert on depression. I am just a normal, average, everyday mom who lives with it. And this is what works for me, and this is what helps me. And hopefully it will encourage others going through it, or will help somebody else going through it. But if you are suffering from depression, or if you're having self-harming thoughts, get help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Go get help, okay? The world needs you. You're important. Go get help. So having said all that in my disclaimer, I'm going to get back into my habits. So my house is a mess. My life is a mess. My, basically everything is just tossed up in the air. So what we're going to be doing these next few months is you're going to be walking with me as I reestablish these habits, but now I'm reestablishing them from somebody who's suffering with a season of depression. Like my body, I can feel it. As I said again, I can feel it in my head. I can feel it in the way I breathe. I can feel it in my heartbeat. Okay. So you're going to be walking alongside me doing that. And we're going to do habits about homeschooling and how we're dealing with that, because during this grieving and even my depression without the loss of my grandmother, my family is going through it with me. I am the main tone setter of our household. They are going through it alongside me. And then you throw the grieving on top of it, and we're all grieving. So we all need help, and we all need different things. So how is that going to look? How are our habits going to look? How am I going to get back to a healthy place? Because right now my brain and my chemistry is back in that early 25-year-old rut of depression, and I have to carve my way back out of it. And I cannot do that without God. I do not want you to ever assume I think I'm doing it by my own power. I am baby stepping it alongside of Him. And what you're going to see is little chunks of my life as I'm walking through that, and hopefully it will encourage you. So we're going to do habits as like house cleaning, homeschooling, exercise, eating. All those kind of things have to be reestablished because they're gone. But one of the things that I can do right now is I can hold tight to our family traditions, the things that are part of my family's culture, things that you might not find in another household, things that you might not even find in my relatives' households. And I can hold tight to those, and we can use those as kind of markers of celebration, right? So we have one coming up, and we are all excited for it. And we do it on Valentine's Day weekend. And this is our third year doing it, and it's our family readathon. And what that is it's just like it sounds. It's 24 hours of reading. And we can't wait. We have crazy treats from like Home Goods, like that weird kind of candy you can't really get from anywhere else. We have, sometimes we pitch a tent in our spare room, and the kids can read in there or sleep in there. My daughter's smiling at me, so that's who I'm looking at over there. And we just read, whether that's with our ears or with our eyes, aloud or silently. We read for 24 hours. We try to stay awake as long as we can, and we read. I'd love it if you guys join us for our readathon. We start the 14th, and we're going to end the 15th. I believe we're going to start at 8 p.m. and go to 8 p.m. the next day. Excuse me. But we might start earlier if my husband can get off work earlier. Anyway, I would love for you guys to join us during that. But because we're keeping up our family tradition, it adds a bit of not just consistency back to our family that's already in such chaos. It adds celebration back where it's been lacking. It adds community back to our little household. It adds like a level of intimacy that our family has because we do these weird, crazy traditions. So I would love if you guys join us for the readathon. I would also love book suggestions. I got a lot of great books for Christmas, and I was really excited about reading them. And the one that I was excited about reading the most this time has to deal with mental illness. And it's a fictional book, but I don't think I'm going to dive into that one. I don't think it would be a wise choice for me to trigger myself during this time. So I'm looking for suggestions. I know I like mysteries, I like sci-fis, I like pretty much anything. And I try to read at least one nonfiction book. One nonfiction book a readathon. So if you have suggestions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments or wherever you're watching this. If you're watching it on Facebook, you could just leave it underneath in the comments, in the comment section. I'm still not there, as you guys can see. I'm way more scattered than normal, but I am going to get there. It's just going to take a while to discover what this new normal looks like and what it's going to feel like. All right. Again, if you're dealing with depression of any kind, go ahead and you can leave me something in the comments, whether it's you or a friend. You don't have to, I know your name will show up, but you can just say, hey, I've been there, or hey, going through that, or whatever, or know somebody who's going through it. And I will pray for you by your little handle name, unless you leave me a different name. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to cheer each other on. It is possible to be a Christian and have to deal with depression. Because, that's what I'm walking through right now. It does not mean my faith has changed. It does not mean my belief has changed. It means life has just hit me hard enough in enough ways to where my body has reacted in a way that's affected my brain chemistry, and now I'm kind of stuck. But I wouldn't be right here talking to you guys about it unless I had God to lead me here in the first place. So I believe that He's capable of everything, and that anything I give to Him, He's going to make better. So that's where we're at, and I am sorry I'm still rambling, but that's just kind of me, right? All right. Until next time, I'm cheering you on. Bye.